Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Early Watch. I am your host, Dead Horse. I have my awesome co-host with me today, Tony.
Morning,
Oh,
people. I have no freaking idea what that was.
let's see. I'm gonna see if anyone else knows what that was. One of my favorite all-time TV shows. I'd probably say all time. Let's see if anyone else knows what that was. Go over here to the YouTube side here. Oh, kind of lagging. Oh, my PC struggling today, I guess. Let's see.
Actually, mine seems to be working good this morning. I'm able to have YouTube on and watch a video while I'm doing this, which I stopped the video and I'm not watching it anymore. But usually I can't do that.
Oh, there we go. Oh, no guesses over there yet. We got gun loving grandpa out there. That that was one of my favorite all-time TV shows, Airwolf. Yep. Did you ever watch Airwolf, Tony?
Some. There was a spell here a year or so back. It was on one of the broadcast digital extra channels. You know, they have like your local TV station that puts out three different channels.
Stringfellow Hawk. Like I wanted to fly like jet fighter helicopters after I saw Airwolf. I wanted to be Stringfellow Hawk when I was a kid. I was like, man, that's the guy to be. He gets all the girls, gets to fly helicopters that shoot down jets. Like, yep. That's what I wanted to be Airwolf. I wanted to fly
Except
that thing.
helicopters don't go that fast.
Yeah, they don't go Mach 3 like they did in the TV show. But hey, a boy can dream. That's I loved that TV show when I was a kid. That was just absolutely awesome. I think I liked that better than dare I say it, like I think I liked it better than Knight Rider or A Team or a lot of those shows that were kind of similar like that. Just because it had all to do with flying, and I was just really, really into flying when I was a kid. And there was no like jet fighter TV show or anything. That was like the closest thing we had.
I don't know, man. I don't think I could ever place that above Knight Rider.
If Kit could fly, then I would say Knight Rider would have been my
But
favorite.
that
But
damn
I was just so
helicopter,
into airplanes and like
that
flying.
helicopter couldn't talk or operate itself.
That is true. That is true. Oh boy. We have some weird news today. You have anything, Tony?
I have one piece of news that I agree with our Democratic uh, government on here in Illinois, and that's that the governor signed into law legalizing marijuana here.
Oh wow. So were there any like regulations to that or anything? Like you gotta buy it from a special
I
place and have a special card or
They haven't given any details. I don't think it goes into effect until the first of the year. When I get done here, I'm going to look for a bag. I'm just kidding.
so I got some strange well, I got some I guess good news, sad news, like all strange news. I have the whole gambit of news today. So we touched earlier on Monday about the Jarhead Motorcycle Club. that had the 7 members tragically killed. The driver of that, who killed those 7 members, who was driving the truck, has been arrested on 7 counts of negligent homicide. They also found heroin, I think, in his system and at his residence. So the driver that took those lives is going to face the consequences of it, which is good news. Let's see here. Oh, concealed permit. Does a concealed permit equal you're a cop, Tony?
No,
Does it make you a superhero and you go around stopping crime?
it hasn't thus far.
So here's the thing: is new charges for a woman accused of intervening in hit and run, fatally shooting the driver. So, long story short, lady intervenes in a hit and run and tries to stop a hit and run guy and shoots him and kills him, and she's gonna pay for it. It looks like. It's kind of sad, but you know that's just it. Is it's when you have a concealed carry permit, it's not for hit and run accidents. It's not for disputes in parking lots. It's not for your neighbors' arguments. It's not for a guy maybe even stealing your car stereo or vandalism. It's there to protect yourself, your life, your family's life, and the life of others from immediate, bodily harm and life-threatening situations, right?
And as soon as the bad guy starts to flee, you are no longer in danger and don't shoot some that's running away.
Yeah, you don't, it's, I, I think some people, I've heard some people kind of talk, some younger guys come around and, gun channels and stuff like that, or maybe even at the shooting range and stuff, and I hear these guys talking and practice and stuff, and granted, they're younger guys, they still got a lot to learn, but you would think that they are now a police officer or a superhero, or you would really think that by the way they talk and they just quite haven't got the point. They would face consequences just like this lady is right now. And I'm sure in her mind at the time she thought she was doing the right thing, but that's just when you follow that car, give the license plate number, tell the police where it's going. But shooting at it, like pulling up, shooting at it, killing the driver, that's just you're gonna go to jail. You're gonna face charges for that. You are not a police officer. Oh, let's see.
Hey, David.
What's
Good
that?
morning, guys.
Oh wow, I don't even see David.
Sneaky. I'm hiding.
I don't even see. No, I don't even see you on my screen. Weird.
Well, he's here.
Cool. Huh. I think for some reason my computer might be lagging this morning or something. Needs to catch up.
No, at least here in Illinois, once the imminent danger to yourself or others is over with, and you could really argue that a guy that hit somebody and took off is dangerous, but I don't think you would get that through court. Once the imminent threat to you is no longer there, the use of your handgun is not a good idea. Or rifle or whatever the hell gun you got.
So I think we all know that there's legislation to ban suppressors. It's it's coming. They're going to be talking about it on the federal level, and these lawmakers, politicians are going to basically be deciding our future when it comes to it. So I once again want to urge everyone to go over to the American Suppressor Association or the gun rights policy, I believe, have or was it Gun Owners of America? I can't honestly remember if it was Gun Owners of America and gun policy. So I guess it's all of them. But you can go over to any one of those organizations and fill out pre-written, basically a pre-written letter, or you could put it in your own words. But if you're lazy and quick and you need to do it super fast, you can just basically type in your info, and they're going to send it to all the people that matter. Please go do that. And you don't have to just do it once. Do it every day. There's nothing that says like, oh, you just fill this out once and you're good. A Patriot told us a little while ago. I really liked it. Fill that thing out every day. Maybe you don't want to do it 10 times a day, but to do it once a day, yeah. So once a day, just to go over there. Literally, I don't know if you guys use autofill on Google, where it pretty much autofills your info. When I go over there, it autofills everything for me. All I do is just hit the first letter of my name. Everything else automatically fills in. I hit OK. Super fast, super easy. It literally takes me like 15 seconds to send that letter. So, please take 15 seconds of your time today and maybe tomorrow and the next day and go to either gun policy or Gun Owners of America or American Suppressor Association. Please just 15 seconds, because and when I say gun policy, that's their Instagram. It's really the Firearms Policy Coalition I'm talking about. So, but please take 15 seconds today, go to their website, auto fill out that information, and and send off those letters. Or if you have more time on your hands, take the time to sit down and write it in your own words and what you want to say. And please remember to be respectful and choose your words wisely. And please send that off to all parties involved.
You can sign up because I get a lot of emails from the USCCA, and you can sign up for all of their email uh, attachments or get on their email list, and you still don't have to become a member of their group. Like, I'm not a member of the USCCA, but I signed up for their email list, so I get a bunch of those petition emails as well. And just like Dead Horse said, you type the first letter of your name and bam, it just autofills for you. And you don't have to become a member of that group. So if it's a group that you're not looking to become a member of, still get their email. Or if you can't afford it at the time or whatever.
Oh, that's an excellent point. I never even thought about it, David. Some people just might not be going over there because they think that, like, oh, I have to be a member. I just can't afford it right now or whatnot. That is an excellent point. No, you do not have to be a member of any of these groups to send this off. So, I mean, I totally have missed the ball on that, but that's an excellent point.
And a quick reality check for everybody that's listening now and in the future. Don't assume that the gun guy or gal that you're talking to right now is aware of everything. I had the opportunity to talk to what I would consider a gun guy yesterday. He's got way more guns than I got and nicer guns than I got, but really didn't understand suppressors. We were having a conversation about it, and he was like, yeah, I kind of understand, you don't want the bad guys. And, the same thing that all the people who are trying to demonize them say, the bad guys are going to get them and put them on their guns, and they'll be able to kill 50 children with nobody hearing it. He didn't go that far, but, along those lines, I just didn't understand how silly banning the suppressor would be. Like, he kind of got it. And I explained it to him. That's a good friend of mine, so it wasn't like an argument or nothing. And he just wasn't aware. So don't assume that just because you're talking to somebody who's got more guns than you or been shooting longer than you is totally aware of everything going on. Definitely share this with, like Patriot says, real people.
Let's see here. Very, very good points. I got a little fun fact for you guys. Did you know that smiling cures? Have you ever heard that before? Smiling cures? Holding a smile for 30 seconds, even if you're not happy, tricks your brain out of depression and boosts the immune system to cure the body of disease. It's called psychoneuroimmunology, and it's a real thing. And it's been actually documented in the medical and scientific world. So just keep that in mind, people. If you're having a bad day, if something's going on in your life, don't forget to smile. Even if you don't have anything to smile about it at that exact moment, don't forget to smile. It's a real thing and it helps.
It takes
Now,
more
before
muscles. It takes more muscles in your face to frown than it does to smile. So if you're concerned about wrinkles, smile more and frown less.
Yes.
Now, before you read this article, Dead Horse, what would you have said had your doctor told you you need to smile?
Um, I don't know. I hardly ever smile ever. So,
No shit, me neither.
so like I probably just, I don't know what I would have thought.
I need a new doctor is what I need.
And but I researched it and I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it that it was a thing, and I researched it, and sure enough, it's a real thing. It's not some conspiracy or myth. It's a real thing, and there's all sorts of evidence behind it. And so if you're just having a bad day, it's something I'm going to try. I'm willing to give it a try. So it's just something, I just thought I'd throw that little fun fact out there. Maybe other people wanted to say, you know what, the next time I'm having a bad day, I'm going to try and force myself to smile. And it is really supposed to trick your brain out of that. So I'm going to see if it works firsthand. Maybe you guys will too. Let's see here. Oh, here's a good one that we got. Oregon militia threat has all the markings of a smear job against gun owners. So, based on the allegation of quote unquote militia threats, Senate President Peter Courtney canceled today's floor session. Wouldn't you know it? He has a girl's name, Peter Courtney. Oregon Firearms Federation informed members in a Saturday alert. But the good news is that while they are not on the floor, they are not allowed to be hunting the Republicans who walked out. Hunting Republicans? That was explained in a Friday alert when we talked about the Oregon governor saying that she was going to enact state police and to go arrest all these Republicans that walked out. And the one of the senators said, "You better bring bachelors and come heavily armed." So, Senate Republicans have walked out to protest the outrageous behavior of the majority party. The governor has called on the state police to track them down, those who left, and force them back to the floor. Governor Kate Brown is working with law enforcement in other states to try to get them to assist in the arrest of the absent Republicans, and all the Republicans are facing fines of $500 every day they are absent. Simply put, while Democrats enjoy the supermajority in both legislative chambers, Republicans are needed to form the required quorum. That means 20 out of the 30 Senate seats, 29 as of late May with one vacancy, are needed to conduct a business.
Now, we didn't think this was cool at all when it was the Wisconsin Democrats who left.
That's probably true. What happened in Wisconsin? I don't remember that.
Same damn thing. They were protesting Walker.
But did the Republicans threaten to hunt them down and arrest them?
I don't know that they actually come out and said that, but it was talked about.
Were they fined $500 a day?
That I don't know.
I think they should ask Steve Scalise how they think, what he thinks about the term "hunt down Republicans."
Yeah.
Was that a direct quote, or did the reporter fill in them blanks?
Oh, David's muted there. And again, this isn't even about the Second Amendment. This is about that, like climate change bill, right? And
Yeah, I don't know if that was a direct quote or not, but I know that Steve Scalise was hunted down with a bunch of other Republicans on that baseball field when they shot him. That guy
yeah,
went there specifically to murder Republicans.
yeah, that is true. And that guy's still pro 2A and still wants you to have guns. So how would that be to be shot and stuff and still to be like, I still believe in this? I mean, that's a guy who has conviction right there. That's a guy I'd vote for president for. Oh, we got some good news coming out of Tennessee today. Or I guess maybe this was Saturday. People in Tennessee can now get. Hold on, I got a bug on me. Okay, sorry about that. People in Tennessee can now get a concealed firearm permit online instead of taking a course in person. In order to get a permit, people have to take a 90-minute online course. Previously, the state required people to take an 8-hour hands-on course to receive a concealed carry permit. Many pro-gun people in Tennessee say that they are not a fan of the law. I think that probably our biggest concern is that people will just take the online class and not seek out any additional training, said Shane Kerwin, a firearms instructor. State Representative Andy Holt, who sponsored the bill, said the law change is about saving people money and time. The new law is backed by the National Rifle Association. And there's a lot of training facilities. I believe Jaeger's out of Tennessee, right? And so there are a lot of firearms training facilities available in Tennessee, and I think it is a good thing because it's about freedom. It's requiring someone to take an 8-hour class. I mean, there's people who might not even be able to do that just because of physical disability. They might not be able to have enough oxygen with them and stuff like that to take an 8-hour class. That might exclude so many people, just that whole 8-hour hands-on part. It's not even funny, especially in the disabled world. So I'm all for this law. I still advise people to seek out additional training when they can. But I'm a big fan. That's how it is here in Utah. Basically, is it's up to the uh, individual company that's teaching the class, on what they want you to do and the requirements on how long and all that. But basically, we only need to basically show up and sign a paper and get our fingerprints and passport ID done, and we can get our concealed carry permit. So I'm a big fan of this, being able to take it online. I'm sure that that doesn't mean that that's the only way you can get it. I'm sure that there's still going to be gun stores and gun shops and firearm instruction places offering concealed carry courses, and that they're going to have their own requirements, whether it's 8 hours, 4 hours, and that's all good. And people can pick and choose what works best for them and their budget. But I'm a big fan of being able to get a gun in the least intrusive way possible and getting a concealed carry permit in the least intrusive way possible. So I really do count this as a win for Tennessee. What do you guys think about that while I slip away real quick and grab some coffee?
Well, honestly, my biggest bitch about those concealed carry requirements of going and taking an 8-hour, 16-hour class or whatever it is that it highly discriminates against poor who are hand to mouth and they can't afford to drop even $100 out of their budget for pretty much anything. So I'm in favor of the whole. Hell, I'm in favor of not needing a permit to carry a damn gun.
Well, so am I. I'm totally in favor of constitutional carry and not having to do a damn thing to carry a gun. But I still consider it a win going from an 8-hour course to just a mandatory 8-hour course to a mandatory at least or a minimum 90-minute online course. I still consider that a win, and hopefully Tennessee will be a constitutional carry state. But I'm still a fan of the training. I'm still a fan that, like, hey, take additional training, whether that's your friends, family, loved ones, professional instructors. Do what you think is going to work best for you. And what you can afford and what your abilities can afford you.
I'm no way opposed to training you at all. I'm opposed to requirements.
I'm a pretty big fan of let people do what they want. And since it's a gun topic, yeah, you should be able to walk into a store, walk out with a gun, put it in your pocket, open carry it, whichever you decide to do. I mean, I'm not for people walking down the street with guns in their hand. You got to have it holstered or something like that. But with that being said, making it super easy to get a gun, I'm all for. Also, if you commit a crime with that gun, I think it should be ridiculous amounts of penalties to deter people from doing bad things with their guns. Make it super easy. If I wanted to go buy a gun right now, I should be able to walk in the store while we're on air and pick up a new gun. And if I do something foul with that gun, you guys should never hear my voice again.
I'm a big fan of punishing gun crime also. And punishing
Well, I have yet to see a gun commit a crime, so there.
I guess that's true. I'm a big fan of punishing criminals, especially violent criminals committing acts.
I did my damnedest to talk that Super Black Hawk Hunter and go and rob a bank for me, but it just will not do it.
Oh boy. So this has I'm going to relate it to guns, but it's really not being related to guns right now. That's because the guys who it's affecting stood around and just watched all of us gun guys burn, and now they're paying for it when they could have stopped this earlier before it even affected them if they would have stood up and fought for our rights. But the Veritas Project, you guys been hearing about this that's going on right now in the Senate and stuff?
I don't know what it is. I've heard the name.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the Veritas Project.
So this is where a person went undercover and talked to one of the head Google people, and one of the head Google people, and this was like unfilmed undercover and all that with secret cameras and audio and stuff. So the Google person did not know that they were being recorded. They basically admitted to that they're setting up Google in such a way to make it so someone like Trump's never elected again, and that people on the right's voices aren't heard, like through their search engines and through their algorithms and stuff like that. That it's basically they're going to discriminate against the right because they believe in fairness, and fairness is only showing what the left says. And so I was like, so I'm hearing all this and watching all this. I'm like, God damn, guess what? We already went through that on YouTube. The gun owners did. Where were you guys all at? Where was, Senator Ted Cruz at? Where were all of our right-wing help at when Google did that to all of us gun guys? Where were you? How come you weren't talking about it then? With discrimination against us. But now that it's, discriminating against quote unquote just political people on the right, basically politicians, oh, now they got a problem with it, right? They don't got a problem with it when Google is screwing with just us lowly citizens and us lowly, gun guys, 2A supporters. They don't have a problem with Google discriminating against us to even speak up about it. But oh no, when they find out Google's discriminating against a person on the right who's a politician, oh boy, watch out. I mean, this is going through the Senate right now and everything they're talking about it and really looking at it. And some people are even talking about splitting up Google. Like Google might get split up. They're talking about it maybe being almost a monopoly. So Senator Ted Cruz, I watched him the other day just really tear into some Google exec. Not sure if you guys caught that or not. Did you watch that, David?
I didn't.
What?
No, I didn't see that one.
He ripped him a new one, and boy, where was he though? He's a pro gun guy, right? He cooked bacon on a machine gun. Where was he when Google was doing the exact same thing to us gun guys? Where was he? That's what I want to know. Where was he when Google was discriminating and is still discriminating against all of us Second Amendment supporters, firearm guys? Where was he at? Is he even a gun guy, or is he just another Donald Trump?
I don't know. The only politician I firmly believe is truly a gun guy is Scalise.
Yeah, I mean, I I know there's a lot of evidence to support that. That's for sure. So here, I'm going to play a couple minutes here of Senator Ted Cruz rip into this Google exec. Just imagine if he would have stood up for us gun guys and did this. I'm just saying, just imagine when Google's like, oh no, we're not going to show your content. We don't care, da-da-da. We're going to hide you in our algorithms and our searches. We're going to delete your whole channel, take down your videos. So where was he? So when you listen to this, and granted, keep in mind, this is just all about Google discriminating against right side, basically Republican politicians. That's all this is over right now.
Are you familiar with a report that was released yesterday from Veritas that included a whistleblower from within Google, that included videos from a senior executive at Google, and that included documents that are purportedly internal PowerPoint documents from Google?
Yes, I heard about that report in industry news.
Have you seen the report?
No, I have not.
So you didn't review the report to prepare for this hearing?
It's been a busy day, and I have a day job, which is digital well-being at Google. So I'm trying to make sure I keep the trains on the
sorry,
track.
this hearing is impinging on your day job.
It's a great opportunity. Thank you. I really
Well, one of the
appreciate it.
things in that report, and I would recommend people interested in political bias at Google watch the entire report, judge for yourself. There's a video from a woman, Jen Janai. It's a secret video that was recorded. Jen Janai, as I understand it, is the head of, quote, responsible innovation for Google. Are you familiar with Ms. Janai?
I work in user experience, and I believe that AI group is somebody we worked with on the AI principles, but it's a big company, and I don't work directly with
So,
Jen.
do you know her or no?
I do not know Jen.
This is a quote. Elizabeth Warren is saying that we should break up Google. And I love her, but she's very misguided. That will not make it better. It will make it worse. Because all these smaller companies who don't have the same resources that we do will be charged with preventing the next Trump situation. It's like a small company cannot do that. Do you think it's Google's job to, quote, prevent the next Trump situation?
Thank you, Senator. I don't agree with that. No, sir.
So a different individual, a whistleblower identified simply as an insider at Google with knowledge of the algorithm, is quoted on the same report as saying, Google, quote, is bent on never letting somebody like Donald Trump come to power again. Do you think it's Google's job to make sure, quote, somebody like Donald Trump never comes to power again?
No, sir, I don't think that is Google's job. And we build for everyone, including every single religious belief, every single demographic, every single region, and certainly every political affiliation.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! They build for everyone? Did you guys hear that? Every demographic, every political, they build for everyone. Where are the 2A gun owners? A constitutional right. Where is that demographic at Google? Have you guys seen it? Or have you guys seen the discrimination? I know I've seen the discrimination. They don't build for me. I can't put videos up over there without being worried about them being demonetized, taken down, hidden in algorithm searches. So, wow. Wow, Google has even been discriminating against this whole Veritas project. You know, even people who have been posting videos about it have been being deleted. You can't tell me or any other gun owner who's been using YouTube that they're not discriminating against us. So that's where I wish that Senator Ted Cruz would have called her out, and he kind of dropped the ball there. Of cooking bacon on a machine gun, but where was he at? Like, he totally dropped the ball right there, boy. And that's the part of the video I wanted to get to. It's a lot longer than that, but I'm going to stop it right there, just because I just wanted to get right to that part about how Google, how they build for every demographic, every political affiliation. What about my constitutional right? You sure haven't built for that. What do you guys think?
I like Project Veritas and the work that they do. James O'Keefe is the guy who runs the place. If I was going to go out on a limb, I'd say Project Veritas is definitely pro 2A because they're all about rooting out the corruption and giving people the freedom to do what they want. I can't say that I heard them say pro 2A here or there. That's just my assumption. And Ted Cruz has been a loser forever. So, but this just goes to show again, there's one clear person to vote for. I don't care about the bump stock. I don't care about the suppressor and all that other kind of stuff. I get it. It's terrible. It sucks. But if you're going to give those people power, then we're going to get a whole lot more than just bump stock bans. And let me just make quite clear, I'm totally against the bump stock ban. I'm not all superhuman pro-Trump, he can't do anything wrong. What I am is looking forward to the future of this country. And if we give power to that side, this is all we're going to have all day long.
And I'm afraid that if we give power to that side, this side's never going to get it again.
That's their exact goal. That's why they want to get rid of the Electoral College. That's why they want to do all these shady, underhanded things. And like the Google thing, make sure Trump never gets elected again, is they want to be able to corrupt the elections from the inside.
I heard people say similar things about when Obama was elected, though, too, that we would never get power again, that it was the end of this, that Obama was going to be the, next Hitler, and he was going to be our, president for the next 30 years and all this stuff. And, so I don't know about that, but I do think that the next time they gain power, it's just going, the discrimination is going to get worse. Not only against, people who are pro 2A and gun owners, but against, Republicans in general, because then Google will be allowed to run rampant and allowed to discriminate all they want and use it in the guise of hate speech or this or that. They'll put it under some other guise that, to make it sound like they're, holier than thou and that they're doing this right thing, but it's really just a disguise that they're hiding under, and it's really nothing more than discrimination. That's what they have been practicing. Oh, you don't agree on our views? It's kind of sad. So my internet's, man, like I'm having a really hard time right now. I don't know if it's my computer or internet. Pulling stuff is up. It's even taken me a couple minutes just to even get the mute button on the Google Hangouts page to pop up to where I can even mute myself. Am I breaking up for you guys or anything like that? Or
No.
okay. So I don't know what's going on with my thing. So I'm going to give it a couple minutes. There's a couple minutes left in this, so I think I'm just going to play this from Ted Cruz. I think it's just good to listen to, since you guys haven't heard it yet.
Well, I have to say that certainly does not appear to be the case. Of the senior executives at Google, do you know of a single one who voted for Donald Trump?
Thank you, Senator. I'm a user experience director and I work on Google Digital Wellbeing, and I can tell you we have diverse views, but I
simple
can't.
Question: do you know of anyone who voted for Trump? Of the
I
senior
definitely know of people who voted for Trump.
Of the senior executives at Google.
I don't talk politics with my workmate.
Is that a no?
Sorry, is that a no to what?
Do you know of any senior executives, even a single senior executive at the company who voted for Donald Trump?
As the digital well-being expert, I don't think this is in my purview to comment on
so you don't know. That's all right. You don't have to know.
I definitely don't know.
I can tell you what the public records show. The public records show that in 2016, Google employees gave to the Hillary Clinton campaign $1.315 million. That's a lot of money. Care to venture how much they gave to the Trump campaign?
I would have no idea, sir.
Well, the nice thing is it's a round number, $0.00. Not a penny, according to the public reports. Let's talk about one of the PowerPoints that was leaked. The Veritas report has Google internally saying, I propose we make machine learning intentionally human-centered and intervene for fairness. Is this document accurate?
Thank you, sir. I don't know about this document, so I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to respond to the committee in writing afterwards as to whether this PowerPoint and the other documents that are included in the Veritas report, whether those documents are accurate. And I recognize that your lawyers may want to write explanation. You're welcome to write all the explanation that you want, but I also want a simple, clear answer. Is this an accurate document that was generated by Google? Agree with the sentiment expressed in this document?
No, sir, I do not.
To read you another, also in this report, it indicates that Google, according to this whistleblower, deliberately makes recommendations. If someone is searching for conservative commentators, deliberately shifts the recommendation. So instead of recommending other conservative commentators, it recommends organizations like CNN or MSNBC or left-leaning political outlets. Is that occurring?
Thank you, sir. I can't comment on search algorithms or recommendations given my purview as the digital well-being lead. I can take that back to my team, though.
So is it part of digital well-being for search recommendations to reflect where the user wants to go rather than deliberately shifting where they want to go?
Thank you, sir. As a user experience professional, we focus on delivering on user goals. So we try to get out of the way and get them on the task at hand.
So a final question. One of these documents that was leaked explains what Google is doing, and it has a series of steps Training data are collected and classified. Algorithms are programmed. Media are filtered, ranked, aggregated, and guaranteed. And that ends with people, parentheses, like us, are programmed. Does Google view its job as programming people with search results?
Thank you, Senator. I can't speak for the whole entire company, but I can tell you that we make sure that we put our users first in our design.
Well, I think these questions raise very serious, these documents raise very serious questions about political bias at the company. Thank you, Senator Cruz.
Wow. So what do you guys think about that? Is that exactly how it went down and what's been happening to 2A supporters, to gun owners, to content creators in the firearms world? Is that exactly what's been happening to us for the last 3 years or more? Because that's what I've seen happen to us for the last 3 years, and just now are people like Senator Ted Cruz upset about what Google has been doing when it's come out that it's affecting them. That's just what irks me about this whole thing, is that this has been happening to our community through Google for years now, and just now is someone is our so-called representatives upset about it because it's affecting them and not just the average citizen.
All these hearings are a joke, if you ask me. They get up there and they say they can't remember. They say they don't recall. They say they can't comment. All these it's all just a dog and pony show. If you went into traffic court and pled not guilty for a traffic ticket and all of a sudden couldn't remember the details, didn't want to comment on this, weren't sure about all that, you're getting slapped with your speeding ticket. But all the way from Mark Zuckerberg to Hillary Clinton to whoever else, and Robert Mueller's going to sit there next week or whatever, nothing ever happens from any of these meetings. People get to go in. Ted Cruz is going to go back to his constituency and say, look what I did. I asked a bunch of tough questions. And then nobody's going to say, well, what happened after that? They're just going to go, yeah, Ted, way to go get him.
What do you think, Tony?
The Pro 2A thing, and them being biased against us, Google was pretty clever because they didn't just go after the 2A community. They went after a number of different things. So it didn't look like they were focused on one specific thing. And maybe that's the way the damned algorithm works. I don't know. If it takes it affecting their bottom line to get them to do something, then here's hoping they're fucking broke tomorrow. And that's just a figure of speech, but whatever it takes to get something done to stop the shit.
Do you guys think it would be a smart thing to break up Google? To separate Google from YouTube, to separate to break it up? It's a so-called media monopoly.
I don't know what good it would do.
I don't know what good it would do either. I'm just asking. I'm just curious because that's I've heard that mentioned several times now, and even Elizabeth Warren, of all people, like you heard Senator Ted Cruz say, thinks breaking up Google is a good idea. So because she thinks it's a good idea, makes me really question: is it a good idea?
Same here.
Not that she might not be right about this one, right? I guess everyone can be right once in a million times, but it makes me wonder what good would it do. I have no clue.
I don't either. It took forever for the breakup of the phone companies to get to the point where cellular phones pretty much put them damn near out of business. But, back in the day, god damn, a long distance phone call would cost the equivalent of today, probably $10, $12 a minute.
Oh, we would have entire separate companies that were just long distance, where you would have your regular phone service company, and then you would have a second company that was just your long distance company. You remember that?
I'm talking before that. When
Oh,
it was all Bell.
I remember the long distance wars when I was a kid. Sprint and AT&T and everyone being like, we charge 10 cents a minute, we charge 8 cents a minute, and you know, and the whole pin drop in front of the mic and how clear your call. I remember the long distance wars.
Well, before that, probably in the 60s, there wasn't none of those other guys. There was Bell. And you paid what they wanted because they were the only option. So do I think breaking up Google is a good idea? Perhaps. I think that there's already other options out there for search. There's Bing, which sucks. I'm sure that Yahoo's got one. I don't know. There's so much in Google that I don't understand. All the aspects of their business. It's hard for me to make an informed decision.
That's true. They are a huge company. They have their little fingers in all sorts of different arenas and all sorts of different tech companies. They own stock and majority stock in that you don't even really know about until you actually see it. And because the name Google isn't on it, but they are such a large, rich company, and they own so much. It's unbelievable. They really have become an absolute powerhouse.
Well, I'll tell you what I'd like to see them do is not filter results of searches. Unless the user specifies specific filters.
I would totally agree with that. But I think we all know that that happens. If I type in something like on YouTube like gun or firearms or whatever, do you think I'm going to get twang and bang and weapons education and the Yankee Marshal, and do you think those are going to be my top results, or even Hickok or something like that? No. It's going to be all John Oliver anti-gun this and CNN anti-gun that, and those are going to be all my top results. If I did a search the other day of something, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like shooting technique or something like that. I typed in. The first 10 stories were mass shooting this, mass shooting that. The first 10 like the whole first page was this mass shooting stories. And I was like, I literally typed in like shooting techniques for shooting techniques for disabled or something is what I was typing in. And it was just yeah. So the it's definitely biased, I'll tell you what.
So I delete those off of the page and then I report them as being offensive.
Let's see. That's a good idea. I do that on Instagram. I haven't done that on YouTube, but I do that on Instagram sometimes on some of the advertisements. Whenever I come across one of the paid advertisements on Instagram, that's a paid like Moms Demand Action thing on Instagram, I always report it as offensive or inappropriate content. And on the Moms Demand Action, I've even reported it as sexually inappropriate content.
Yeah, I want to get with you after the show and talk to you privately about some stuff like that, Deadwood.
Yeah, definitely. So let's see here. Good news coming out of New Jersey. So New Jersey enacted a smart gun bill, like a smart gun law back in like 2002 or something, where they've been trying to move towards having smart guns and push to have smart guns that can only be fired by the registered owner of that gun and all sorts of stuff. Well, a bill passed in the state assembly and in the state senate that would repeal that law. So that would so actually I guess so the smart gun law was every New Jersey gun shop had to have at least one handgun for sale that was quote unquote a personalized handgun, which was basically one of these smart guns. But this law is getting repealed. It looks like the only thing that has to happen is for the governor now to sign it into law. But hopefully the governor signs that, and the smart gun law is going to be going away out of New Jersey. So there's a cloud with a little bit of a silver lining, I guess.
Who's the governor in New Jersey now?
I'm pretty sure he's anti-gun as hell. From what I've heard from other people on around our community, is that and granted, I don't know, they might have gotten a recent one, but I've heard people talk about him being super anti-gun, and even wanting to prosecute like little old ladies who just are flying through the state, and stuff with their gun. There was a case about that one little old lady who got arrested, and she was just trying to like fly through the state and either had a layover there or something. And just because she basically had her gun in the state that wasn't legal, I guess, in that state, she got arrested. And he supported that. He supported her being arrested and all that. So, from my understanding, he's extremely anti-gun. And I could be wrong about that, but that's just what I've heard other people say. And I've never been to New Jersey or anything like that, so I really don't know. I don't. It's New Jersey ain't something. The only thing I pay attention to from New Jersey is Bon Jovi. So.
I have no intention of setting foot in New Jersey ever. In fact, Hot Rod Drag Week this fall is going to be one of the spots is going to be in New Jersey. So I decided I wasn't even going to follow the damn thing. Because I was planning on driving out there and following that week of races around them. But fuck that. I ain't going to New Jersey for nothing.
Yeah, no, I definitely would stay out of the horror stories I've heard out of New Jersey. I wouldn't even drive through that state. I would literally do whatever it took to drive around New Jersey from the horror stories I've heard of being pulled over there and, basically being pulled over for no reason just to search for guns if you have out-of-state license plates passing through. So I would avoid New Jersey at all costs, But this is a little bit of a cloud with a silver lining, like I said, at least for some gun shops there. They're not going to have to carry a quote-unquote smart gun law in order to, sell guns there and do business. So,
They really haven't made a functional one of those yet, have they?
Not that I'm aware of. And even the ones that they do, I have seen can be easily hacked in just seconds. So I'm not sure that they even have a decent one out. I don't pay attention to smart gun stuff either. I'm kind of out of the loop on that.
Me too, unless you bring up the documentary Judge Dredd.
I got another awesome pro-gun, pro-2A victory story. So we talked about on this program about Needles, California becoming a Second Amendment sanctuary city. Now guess what? Now they want exemption from some of the state's gun laws. Woohoo! So the leaders of the border town says strict rules are keeping Arizonians out. Arizonians, I like that word. Arizonians. So one of San Bernardino County's easternmost cities wants to be sanctuary, not for undocumented immigrants, but for gun owners. So this is so Needles this month declared itself a Second Amendment sanctuary city, a message that city leaders say is partly about support for gun rights and partly a desire to get an exemption from state law so out-of-state gun owners can travel through town and for residents to purchase ammunition. The former railroad town of about 5,000 is near the Colorado River, close to the Arizona state line. The city officials say that California gun laws are prompting Arizona residents to stay out of needles, hurting business in the town. All we can do is tighten state law, said Mayor Jeff Williams. We can't loosen it. But if we ask for a change in the law or an exemption. The city council, which made the declaration during a meeting on June 11th, eventually could consider all or any of three possibilities: an exemption from the state's gun laws for needles, and a 65-mile radius surrounding the town, a request the state to allow the city to recognize concealed weapon permit holders from neighboring Arizona and Nevada, and a request to the county to allow sheriff's deputies to not enforce weapon violations by California, Nevada, and Arizona residents who are following their state's rules. California, which has some of the toughest gun laws in the country, does not recognize out-of-state concealed weapon permits, nor does the state issue such permits to out-of-state residents. However, Arizona and 23 other states do recognize California's permits. It's time to have reciprocity, Williams said. Out-of-state residents cannot get a concealed weapon permit in California. However, you as a Californian can get out-of-state permit in every other state. It's time for us to recognize other permits. City officials may also request the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department to direct its deputies to use discretion when they pull over Arizona or Nevada residents carrying weapons in their vehicles. This could mean, Williams said, that an out-of-state resident would be asked to take their gun back across state lines or be allowed to unload the weapon and place it in their trunk or locked container, as is required in California, rather than face potential criminal charges. California's concealed carry permit holders are allowed to transport a loaded weapon in their vehicles. Those without California permits are required to keep their weapon unloaded and locked in the trunk or other locked container. The weapon must also remain in a locked container when carried to or from a vehicle. In addition to exemptions for licensed gun owners, Williams said they are looking to lessen restrictions on ammunition purchases for California residents and needles. It is illegal to purchase ammunition out of state, then transport it back to California. Ammo must be purchased in person at a vendor licensed with the State Department of Justice. Online orders must be shipped to one of these vendors, not to a buyer's home. For needles gun owners, this means driving more than 100 miles to purchase ammunition in person, or to pick up online orders from a California licensed vendor, even though there are ammunition stores just a few miles across the river, Williams said. The ammunition rules are part of Proposition 63, which was approved by about 63% of California voters in 2016. Starting July 1st, ammunition buyers will be required to show identification and undergo a background check. Ah, man. So and there's more to the story, but that's it. They want exemption from this. They want these people in needles to be able to go to Arizona and buy ammo, be able to come back with it. They want them to, have their sheriffs use discretion and not basically just automatically arresting every out-of-state, person coming in through needles, touristy towns, stuff like that, with their guns. I mean, I think it's a two-way win. I think Needles is taking the step in the right direction, and I really hope other cities in California follow suit, especially if Needles becomes a success at this. What do you guys think?
Never going to happen.
What's never going to happen? They're never going to get...
the state's never going to agree to that shit. No way. Because that would be like admitting they're wrong in this specific instance.
Well, I don't know if you guys watched Ghost Tactical last night, but he actually had a sheriff on there talking about, him not enforcing, red flag laws or unjust state laws and stuff like that, because that is left up to the sheriff's discretion. That's one of the good things about being a sheriff versus being a city police officer, right? So
Right, and that sort of thing, the gun sanctuary, counties and whatnot, that's fine. But them wanting to get an exemption from California law, that ain't gonna happen.
you know, and that might be something that goes through the Ninth Circuit Court and gets fought in court, which I'm all for. I'm all for that. Either way, it's going to put out headlines. Either way, it's going to make other cities look at this. It's going to make the residents of California look at this and be like, yeah, why would these people want to, drive 100 miles in order to get ammo? That's so unfair when it's only 5 miles away across the border.
Well, it
And
seems
stuff like
that 60% of Californians don't think people need ammo.
60% of voters.
Well,
So how many of those probably couldn't buy the ammo anyway because they don't have ID and can't pass a state background check because, well, they're not even a resident of the United States or a citizen.
I don't know.
So if you 60% of the voters and a quarter of them are legal aliens, yeah, that couldn't buy the ammo anyway. What do they care? I mean, I'm just saying. It's that's just the voters, 60% of the voters, which those numbers might not mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. And we know how many dead like to rise up from the grave and vote in California every election year, right?
Oh shit, Chicago's got that one hands down.
Somehow in California, I read just recently that somehow in California, like some of these counties have 110% turnout. More people will be voting than like registered voters. Because dead people are rising from the grave and being like, oh, I'm going to go vote today.
There is a law that an instance where red flag laws should be applied. You got more voters than you got people. Something ain't right here.
Oh man. Now this story is this is my funny story of the day. So, you guys know who David Hogg is, right? The "there I was" kid, right? So, Parkland shooting survivor David Hogg says he's been a target of 7 assassination attempts.
Oh, bullshit.
7, dude. This guy's getting killed left and right. 7, these are bad hitmen. I'm just saying, 7 attempts. Like, how bad of a hitman do you got to be to try and assassinate someone 7 times and just? Oh gosh! So this is a kid who's fallen out of the limelight, is what I'm seeing, and he's not on mainstream media. He's nothing but a meme and a joke on the internet anymore, and he needs attention. He got his 15 minutes of fame. He was in the limelight, and now he's craving more. And so he's pulling a Jesse Smollett, and I've been a victim of assassination attempts. Not just 1, not just 2, 7 assassination attempts, and we're just now hearing about it. Like, have you guys heard about any assassination attempts before this article that just came out yesterday?
I haven't.
I haven't. You would think you'd hear about maybe the first one or the second one or the third one or the fourth one. But all of a sudden just coming out an article yesterday, and this is from Fox News, that he's been a victim, and this comes from him too, that he's been a victim of 7 assassination attempts. He says that people are trying to kill him to curb his efforts for gun violence. So it's, definitely, it's all over the Second Amendment. It's all crazy gun owners, coming after this guy. Apparently, it doesn't go into any kind of detail on what these assassination attempts were. Unfortunately, I'm assuming someone on the internet said, go kill yourself or something, and he's taking that as an assassination attempt. But
As shady as that kid is, they could be character assassinations that he's calling. You know, somebody said that he was a dummy. So and I know that's tinfoil Hattie, but so is David Hogg. And the California thing, they're so far in debt in California, there's no way they're going to let another county skirt around some type of state taxes.
yeah, I don't know. I still think it's good that they're trying. You know what I mean? If they sit around and do nothing, well, nothing's going to change, right? So at least they're trying to do something. They're making their case. They're going to fight for this, and I think that's a good thing. Whether they win or not, I guess time will tell. But either way, if they just sit there and do nothing, well, nothing's going to change. You know what I mean? So I see it as a good thing that California is just taking this. Needles, California is taking this step to try and get something done, to try and enact change. And granted, nothing might come of it, but at least they're trying, and I think that's the important part. Because just sitting on their thumbs sure ain't going to do anything.
How cool is it that what may be the coolest place in California is called Needles?
Right?
You know, you figure that'd be like San Francisco's nickname or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought. When I first heard that, I got confused. When I first read that, I was like, Needles, California. And I heard like sanctuary, and it just didn't even dawn on me. I was thinking like, oh, they're making Needles like a sanctuary, and like everyone can just walk around with needles now and not get busted for having
Look,
needles.
they're cactus needles, damn it.
Oh, okay. So David Hogg did say he's going to school, and for lack of a better word, he's going to weaponize my knowledge and learn as much as possible to end violence. So he's going to weaponize his knowledge. That's awesome, kid. Good luck with that. So, yep, but 7 assassination attempts. So I'm going to try and dig and find some more info about that. And I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue about any of these attempts. I think they're all bullshit. I think they're all that Jussie Smollett thing. And he's dying for attention right now because I don't see him getting any in the media at all.
Look, there was a whole bunch of like social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube pages, all got community guideline strikes or had their channels removed for talking bad about this kid. So if somebody tried to kill him, that would be front page news all over the country.
And then I have some breaking news from CBS today. Or I guess this was this today or was this yesterday? So I guess this was yesterday. But breaking news from CBS yesterday. Did you guys know that AR-15 rifles are more powerful than handguns?
Oh, I beg to differ.
So I guess this was on a CBS News, the 60 Minutes. Did a report on Sunday night. I don't know if any of you guys watched it out there, but
God in heaven, no.
they did a report on the AR-15 rifle Sunday night, and they discovered just through chance. I guess no one knew this before this came out, but that the AR-15 rifle is more powerful than a handgun. Who would have thought of rifles? I thought handguns were the most powerful things. I thought a 9mm was just. I thought that was the end all be all.
Well, they're probably comparing 22 handguns. You know, because it's 22 caliber. The AR's usually 22 caliber.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I'm not going to go into the whole article and what they talked about, but basically, they compared it to 380s, 32, 25, caliber. They compared it.
Where's the 8 3/4 inch Smith & Wesson 29?
But they mainly seem to focus on the 9mm versus the AR-15. And shockingly, the AR-15 is much more powerful than a 9mm. It's just And they acted like no one knew this. Like it was just like they were like it was a scoop that this was like hidden from us by the firearms industry that, shockingly, like out of nowhere, like they're the ones who discovered this and did this ultra good research and this investigative reporting to conclude that a rifle's more powerful than a handgun. Wow.
Why the hell would everybody want one if it would be more effective to carry a freaking handgun that you could hide?
Well, I would have liked to have seen them compare it to some calibers that have been around for over 100 years, like the 30-06, the 45-70.
Oh,
Like I would have liked to have seen them compare it to some, guns, some calibers that have been around forever, basically, right? I would have liked to have seen that comparison of the AR-15.
I would like to take them out in the woods and say, "Here, stand behind this 16-inch diameter oak tree while I load my 30-06."
Right? Oh. But yeah, just just in case anyone didn't know, the AR-15 is indeed more powerful than a 9mm handgun. It's been proven. Yep. Oh, so let's see here. So that's we're an hour and a half in. That is pretty much my 2A news for today. I guess we can just talk about whatever you guys want to talk up, or if you guys want to re-talk about anything. I'm reading out there in the chat. Adam Folk says it's buffered for him a few times, but nothing very long. And again, sorry about that. I'm not sure if it's my computer or internet connection today or whatever. Just pages are just seem to be taking a long time to load and just to do anything right now for me. Russ Carr says he wish he was having a bad day yesterday. So he got in his truck, he cranked Pantera and Slayer all day, and it ended up being a pretty good day. Gun Living Grandpa sounds like David is. Oh, he's talking about David bowling out there. He's talking. Sounds like you were mudding a wall. That's exactly what it sounded like to me too. Vanessa Kitty says that I believe Vanessa's in Connecticut, if I remember right, and it says our classes required are 8 hours. So they got 8-hour classes there. Vanessa also says that I'm guessing this is about the Ted Cruz and Senate thing. Stop thinking they are there to help you. And yeah, that's kind of like exactly what Tony said, that it's and David, that it's kind of like a dog and pony show there, and it's not they're not there to help us. Oh, we got the gun-toting pacifist has 12 anti-gun bills shot down in Maine. That is awesome. I'll do some research on that. Maybe we can talk about that on the early watch. I love good stories like that. 12 anti-gun bills shot down in Maine. Feel free to email any links to anything that you got out there on Gun-Toting Pacifist or anyone else about any pro 2A, anti 2A, good guy with the gun stories, anything like that you would like to hear us talk about on Early Watch 2. Go ahead with that address, Tony.
earlywatchil@gmail.com.
Yes, most definitely. Please email Tony over there. Send him some links. We would love to have those stories. We would love to discuss them and talk about them and share that information, especially good things where it's 12 anti-gun bills get shot down. So,
how fucking pathetic is it that my good news from Illinois is that we legalized weed?
You know what though, Tony? What I'm really, really hoping is that all those violent gang members there and all that, they get so high and they get all happy and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not going to go out and commit murder today. So I'm hoping that your murder rates drop and your crime rates drop. That's what I'm hoping that you guys get out of this. So I am hoping that weed makes them just too lazy to get out of the house to do any bad.
Well, that would be a nice idea, but I think it's going to just piss things up in the advent of their sales market, money-making operations.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, hopefully they isn't Illinois or maybe it's just Chicago. I'm not sure. Aren't they in some pretty serious debt?
Yes, lowest
So
rates credit score in this country as far as states go.
so hopefully that'll help with that. Hopefully it'll help generate some tax revenue. Hopefully rebuild some ghettos, rebuild some cities, and hopefully I'm hoping it works out good for you guys. I really do. I hope that it makes a difference and for the good. I hope it doesn't hurt anything. And I'm not sure. I really haven't looked at what the consequences have been like for that, like in California or Denver or the other states that have done it in large cities. I'm not sure how it's really affected them. That's just something I haven't, researched or looked into at all. But I'd be curious to see, how it affects Illinois and Chicago if, if it helps you or hurts you guys in the long run.
Hey, I got a video, guys.
What's that, Tony?
Maybe. I said I've got a bail.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank
Everybody
you.
have a good day.
Thank you, Tony. Yes,
See you,
sir.
Tony.
Let's see here. Let's see if I got anything else here that I saved. So, I came across the list of some accomplishments that I thought were interesting that I don't hear talked about too much. So, I hear an awful lot about Trump banning bump stocks and wanting to ban suppressors. But here's some numbers I came across that I think would be interesting just to kind of throw out there. No matter which way you feel about them, I think these are actual facts. So since election day, since Trump was elected, the Dow is up 45%, the S&P up 37%, the Nasdaq up 54%. Stocks gained 9.2 trillion with a T in value. 5 million new jobs. 3.9 million Americans are off of food stamps, and the unemployment rate is at 3.6%, its lowest in 40 years. So I just thought those are some fun Donald Trump facts out there.
Yeah, screw all that good stuff. I want my plastic bump stock back. So I hate Trump. That's the thing that doesn't get me is on both sides. It's the people quote unquote on our side. I'm not going to vote for Trump because he banned the bump stock. Screw that. But the job that you have now and that your kid has got, and not having to sign up for health care and the thousands of other things that he's done positive in this country. Yeah, the bump stock thing was bad, and I think you got to call him out. Don't be a Trump fanboy, but don't be stupid either.
I would agree with that 100%. Yep, we don't have to like what he did with bump stocks. We don't have to like what he has said about suppressors. But, and we can definitely call him out for that, and we should be pressuring him. We should be putting hardcore pressure on him, saying, hey, we love everything else you're doing, but you are wrong about this, right? And that's the approach I've taken. So every time he comes up on my Instagram, I'm following him on social media, and I even get texts from the guy. And I don't know if any of you guys are signed up for the different text alerts from the president, but I am. And a lot of times you can respond to them, and I let them. And that's because I was a campaign contributor. But I respond to those texts. I respond on social media, and I remind him of his campaign promises, and I remind him and make sure to thank him for the good he's done. I also like to throw it in his face and tell him, you are wrong about this, buddy. You are 100% wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. And that's what I feel I can do. What I don't feel like I can do is help get a Democrat elected, because I don't think a Joe Biden's going to be any better for the Second Amendment.
Well, I wrote that letter back in December about my displeasure with the whole bump stock thing. And I don't know if you saw the video, but I got a response letter back. And it was a chain letter, you know, and it didn't really address anything that I wrote down. It just kind of glazed over pro 2A stuff. But the one thing that I'm keeping positive in is, yeah, Donald Trump didn't read that letter. Yeah, Donald Trump didn't sign that letter. But someone somewhere had to read at least some part of that letter in order to write the response back. So I'm going to take that as a positive.
I would take it as a positive too. And one thing I really like about Donald Trump, I think a lot of people are missing, is for the first time, we have a president who's really active on social media and who's using social media. And what is social media? A way for us to be social with each other, right? That's what social media is. It's a way for us to interact and talk and work and socialize with each other. So if he is so active on this, we can be active on it also and be voicing our frustrations, our opinions directly at him. And so and granted, I don't think a lot of people totally disagree with me on this. I've already heard all the different arguments on why I'm wrong about this, but I'm a firm believer that he is so active on these platforms, on his Twitter, on his Instagram, on his Bookface, that we have to be using that, because if we don't use it, who's going to use it? People who aren't supporting our ideas and our opinions, and so especially when you have people like the NRA whispering in Donald Trump's ear, "Oh, we're okay with you banning bump stocks. We want them banned too." Right? I think of the NRA as an advisor to President Trump. He's not an expert on all things. No president is. Presidents have advisors that are supposed to be experts in their field. So when the president doesn't know about something, he goes to this scientist. He goes to this, person with a law degree or a business degree or whatever it is, and says, "Hey, like, what do you think about this? What do you think about the economy? What do you think about the homeless rate or the, unemployment rate? How do we fix this?" He goes to people who are really high up in their field who are supposed to be experts. Well, who's the expert in the gun field supposedly, right? Who's the expert in the gun organizations in the 2A arena that would have the president's ear? That's the NRA. So when you have the NRA, your advisor basically telling you, "Oh yeah, like bump stocks, yeah, we don't like them, ban them too." I mean, I just so I that whole bump stock thing, I really do throw a lot of the blame on the NRA for that, and Donald Trump. He's the one who did it. He needs to be blamed. But if we could let him know that the NRA is not the expert on this, that all of us gun owners are the experts on this, and we're the ones that should be voicing our opinions to him and letting him know, hey, no, the NRA might not speak for us on this. That whoever is advising you, who's ever your advisor on this, is wrong. So and that the social media gives us a very, very good chance of actually doing that. And I've said it again, and I'll say it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Go to his Twitter, his Bookface, his Instagram, and voice your frustrations over there, and tell him what you think about banning suppressors. Tell him what you think about how he banned bump stocks. Tell him what you think about red flag laws. And I guarantee you this guy is going to take notice if 1 million people go over there. And instead of having, I don't know if you pay attention to that, but he'll usually have 2,000 to 4,000 comments maybe on average on any one of his posts. That's a lot of comments, 2,000 to 4,000. He can't read all those. But guess what? If he has 1 million comments and 996,000 of them are basically the same comment, don't ban our bump stocks, don't ban our suppressors, would he think and reconsider and look at it differently? I think so. I really do. I really want to believe that. And again, that I just might be living in a fantasy world and I might be completely wrong on that. But I really believe that this guy is in touch with social media. He's kind of more in touch on the pulse of America than a lot of other presidents have been. and might actually care what Americans think more than what previous Americans or previous presidents have thought. So I really believe that would make a big difference. The problem is getting organized and getting 1 million 2A supporters and gun owners to go take that effort, you know? And I don't know how, that's the part I don't know how to accomplish without, getting someone like Military Arms Channel and Hickok and some of these bigger groups and FPC and GOA and, NRA and getting all these groups behind it. If those groups were like, hey, let's go, I think the kids call it raid their accounts, where you go over there and you just post all, a bunch of comments and stuff. If we could get 1 million gun owners and Second Amendment supporters to go over there and raid his Instagram and Facebook and all that, and leave 1 million comments from 1 million different people saying, hey, don't take our suppressors, I have to think this guy's going to pay attention to that. He's going to hear about it, even if it's an aide that's mainly running his Instagram or Facebook. He's going to hear about it. He's going to be like, whoa, 1 million comments. I usually get 4,000. I got 1 million basically saying the same thing. Don't touch my suppressor. I really have to think this guy's going to pay attention to that. Just because I think I would. I really do. I think that would get my attention.
The old saying is you get more flies with honey than you do with the other thing. So if you're texting anybody, whether it's Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, and telling them how stupid you think they are and how ignorant they are, I don't think they're going to respond well to that.
Oh, no, not at all. Oh, yeah, no, not at all. You definitely want to use some tact and some character and come at it from a logical point of view. Maybe we could, collaborate and put together one of these pre-formed response letters, but something that'll fit in the, in the short text of Instagram or Facebook, because I think they limit you on the number of characters. And maybe we could brainstorm, come up with something that we can just share throughout our community and copy and paste it on a social media. And I really think he would pay attention to that. I really, really do.
Well, my thought also is, if my idea is so stupid, what's your idea? Because this is the idea that I came up with. And if it's really all that bad, what's your suggestion? Don't just tell me how dumb my idea is and how it's not going to work without giving me an alternative.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And we could come at them with facts about suppressors and facts about red laws, and we can recite plenty of cases. We could be throwing it in his face how he went over there and interviewed with Piers Morgan, and over in London where suppressors are legal and people use them all the time, in a place that has some of the strictest gun laws in the entire world, and how they're still legal over there, and yet he's talking about making them illegal over here. Tells me he's not listening to the people right now. Tells me he's listening to some advisors, some people who are supposed to be experts in their field, and that he just doesn't know. And I don't know where his son is in all this, or if his son even has his father's ear. I would hope so, but maybe not. Not all fathers and sons get along in every way and talk every day, and not all fathers are going to listen to their sons, versus maybe someone who might be more of a so-called expert in that field. So I don't know who has the president's ear right now, if it's still the NRA or whatnot, when it comes to the Second Amendment. I'm not sure who has his ear, but whoever has his ear right now, I don't think is doing a good job. And I think that we need to point that out by doing nothing more than just voicing our belief that he's wrong on this. So I came across the awesome quote. So we're getting close to the top of the second hour here, and let's see here. So I came across an awesome quote I would like to share with you guys. This is by H.L. Mencken. The notion that a radical is one who hates his country is naive and usually idiotic. He is more likely one who likes his country more than the rest of us, and is thus more disturbed than the rest of us when he sees it debauched. He is not a bad citizen turning to crime. He is a good citizen driven to despair. Have you ever heard that quote before, David?
No, I've never heard that one.
Yeah, it kind of struck me. I'd never heard it before. Um, and when you hear the name radical, I guess it all carries a certain type of a stereotype. But I've never heard the name radical put like that in such an elegant way. So H.L. Henry Louis Mencken was an American journalist, essayist, uh, basically comic book writer, cultural critic, scholar of American English. He commented widely on the social scene, literature, music, prominent politicians, and contemporary movements. He was born in 1880 in Baltimore, and he died 1956 in Baltimore. So I just thought I'd put that out there. H.L. Mencken. Awesome quote about being a radical. Let's see here. And I think that's it. I think we're going to end it for today. We've gone almost 2 hours. Cutting a little bit short today. That's okay. David, do you have anything coming up or any shout outs or anything you want to promote awareness for?
Yeah, check out everysecondmatters.com and check out Rick's Life as I See It, Shooting with Disabilities, tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern.
And I'll agree with that 100%. Check out everysecondmatters.com. Rick's Life as I See It, 7 p.m. Eastern. Tonight's the shooting in the disabled chat, right? I'm pretty sure that's the show that's tonight. Is the shooting?
Yeah, every Wednesday is the Shooting with Disabilities chat. So if you have any comments or questions or know anybody that has any relevant information, email Rick at rickslifeasIseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com.
Most definitely. Please go check out his channel over there. I'd also like to shout out, give the Gun Loving Grandpa. He's out there on the YouTube side. He's been putting up some content. Would definitely like to shout his channel out. Feel free to go over to Gun Loving Grandpa YouTube over there. Subscribe to it. Help support him and help encourage more content from him. Love to see guys out there just putting out content. So definitely go check him out. And oh my gosh, we got Tony back.
Yes. What I miss?
Radicals.
Okay, that's fine.
You missed Dead Horse giving away guns. He gave away like 6 guns while you were gone.
Well, I hope people have got them and enjoy them.
Actually, we were just going to wrap it up, Tony, but
That's fine.
so I'm going to read this quote again. I just want to know your opinion on it. I'm going to read this quote again, okay? So this is by H.L. Mencken. Have you ever heard of him before? Henry Louis Mencken?
It's not ringing a bell, so.
So he has this quote about radicals, and I saved it. I just thought it was very interesting. The notion that a radical is one who hates his country is naive and usually idiotic. He is more likely one who likes his country more than the rest of us, and is thus more disturbed than the rest of us when he sees it debauched. He is not a bad citizen turning to crime. He is a good citizen driven to despair. What do you think about that? Did that just blow your mind?
No.
No?
I don't even think it's right completely. Because a lot of the radicals you see today hate this fucking country. So, nah, I don't buy into this shit. No, if you want to completely change this country, then you don't like what it is. Pretty damn simple. That can go two ways too, because I would like to see much of this change, but it's more of a back to what they intended type of thing, not to embrace Marxism or socialism or communism or any other isms that suck.
I guess that's true. I would consider some of those people more just literally domestic terrorists, and so I guess it depends on what side of the fence you're on when you're talking about radical. I think it kind of stuck out to me is because I with this whole Oregon thing going on and the governor calling for the arrest, she used the term radical, and about the so-called militia and the militia threats, these radicals, right? These Second Amendment radicals, these gun-toting radicals, and and so I guess it depends on who's using that term against who. And when I think of it from my side, from militia stuff like that, I don't see these guys as the stereotypical term radical. I see it through the eyes of H.L. Mencken. But if you're talking about Antifa, I can see where you're coming from, where some might call them radicals too. But I think a more appropriate term would be like a domestic terrorist.
But see, that's what is not well defined is the term radical and how it's used. Because those of us who fervently believe in the Constitution and express it mostly via the Second Amendment, while they're pointing fingers saying that's radical, that's not. That's where you run into the problem with stuff like that, because the term radical is too loosely based these days. So on one hand, depending on what the guy was intending when he made that quote, he may be perfectly accurate, but from where I sit, he's not.
And I guess we're all gonna all see that quote or a quote like that and take it from our own side, maybe, and on what we see that's going on, how it's affecting us and stuff like that. And I just thought it was ironic that they literally used that term radical with that whole Oregon militia thing, and that these are radical peoples. And I've never known our state militias and these militia groups to necessarily be radicals. And
now, did you ever watch Doomsday Preppers?
No, I have not.
You should.
Would you consider them radicals? Is that what you're saying, or?
No, I wouldn't, because I agree with the idea of prepping, but I can see where anybody on the outside of our viewpoint would. I don't freaking walk around here in camo, toting a long gun, ever. And if I'm in camo, I'm getting in the vehicle, going down to the woods to try to get squirrel or deer, or whatever. I don't know that these guys are what would be textbook radical. I don't really want to point fingers because I don't know any of their situations well enough to say. Zealot, maybe. But I just lump it into their hardcore preppers. And, a lot of this stuff is based on optics. what you think you see.
Oh yeah, most definitely from our own personal experience and our own point of view and what's going on around us. I can definitely see people using the term radicals on people who want to inflict massive change on the government and change the Constitution. But I can also see people being called radicals who want to do nothing but uphold our current Constitution, right?
Dare I say, I am a constitutional radical. Jesus, can't spit it out.
And that's where I'm coming from when I read this quote. Is that's exactly where I'm coming from, Tony? Is that it's especially you know just from my personal experience, and I think the same. You're saying the same thing here. Is that people could definitely be calling us radicals for just doing nothing more than wanting to uphold the Constitution, support the Second Amendment, support the First Amendment, and there's people who want to change that and strip those away from us that are calling us radicals for wanting to hold on to this, right? And then here we are on the other side of the fence calling people who might want to who are trying to inflict massive change and take away our Constitution, and we're calling them radicals, right? So we're just calling each other radicals back and forth. But so I can see that. I'm always gonna, I think, take it from my side, the way I'm looking at it.
Well, I try to look at it from the outside. How people that are not really into the struggle one way or the other are seeing things. So some of this stuff is just so freaking generalized that it's starting to turn radical into an adjective as opposed to a word that actually means something with some substance. And that's got nothing to do with this guy. That's just culture. You know, 50 years ago, if you found out one of your politicians was a leftist, they probably would have tried to some bitch for treason.
Yeah. I mean, that was a real thing, especially back in the 50s, being a communist supporter or whatnot. That definitely was a real thing. I mean, we used to charge people with treason, I think, back in the 40s and 50s for being communist, right? And trying to, I think that was a real thing.
Well, John Brennan voted for the Communist Party member. I believe the guy's name was Gus Hall for president. This was many years ago, and then he became CIA director under the Obama administration. And then Bernie Sanders is declared socialist, and look how much power he's got. Something's gone wrong somewhere.
Infiltration at the highest levels of government.
We're too lazy to get off our ass and do our homework, is what's going wrong.
Or maybe the media is just not helping us very much put out actual truthful facts and stuff like that. And investigative reporting doesn't exist anymore. Because it's hard for an average citizen, let's say in Colorado or Utah or Nevada, to necessarily know about a politician in Washington, D.C. and what their beliefs are and what they're going through. It might be easier in this day and age, but it's still not necessarily an easy thing. And since their investigative reporting and truth in media doesn't exist anymore, it literally doesn't. It's I think it's a lot harder for us to figure out like who's who. Or if someone was communist, if someone was socialist back in the 50s, that would have made every newspaper that, like, you would have been hearing about that. They would have been on trial. There would have been hearings. Are you a communist supporter? Are you a communist sympathizer? I mean, they basically would have been called out by not only media, but by the people, right?
Well, I'd say that this country was probably just about as scary when they were doing the whole communist witch hunt they did back in the 50s as it is today. I mean, this is America. If you want to be a communist, you're perfectly able to be so according to your rights. And that whole McCarthy thing is kind of scary if you look at what they were doing. That's one of the things that I kind of don't see a lot is people that look at our side in history and point out the bad shit that the conservative or more conservative side has done. We've left our marks too.
No, I would agree with that. Let's see. Do you have anything else you'd want to talk about, Tony? For today? I'm out of my 2A news for the day.
Nope, I got nothing. Oh,
All right.
wait a minute. We seem to be in the middle of a standoff situation here somewhere in this area. I believe the town's Avon, where a guy has killed one deputy. He's barricaded himself into a home somewhere. So I'll have to see what turns out on that later. That's been scrolling on my news all damn day.
A standoff in Chicago?
No, it's in Avon, a small town here in the central area.
Oh, okay.
No, in Chicago, they just went in with SWAT. We don't have that here.
So let's see here. So, see, where was it? I was going to share something as we signed off, and now Tony, gosh darn it, made me lose my place. Where was? Oh, okay, here you go. So thank you everyone for tuning in to Early Watch today. We will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Please send any 2A news stories, good, bad, or ugly, over to Tony at earlywatchil@gmail.com. We are still looking for a guest host for Tuesdays, for Early Watch on Tuesdays. You don't have to do it every week. If you could just maybe do it just one Tuesday here or there, feel free to let us know. So if anyone would like to host Early Watch this next Tuesday or any upcoming Tuesday, and host it with a great guy like Tony and David, and we'll get Patriot in the Dark in here sometimes, and a bunch of great people, please let us know, and we would gladly love to have you. So just if you want to contact me through gunchannels.com, I'm over there often, or contact Tony at earlywatchil@gmail.com. And thank you everybody for tuning in today.
Two Whoppers, two Whopper Juniors, and 4 Coca-Cola. And would I have to wait long if you made one Whopper with no pickle and no lettuce?
No, sir. Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce. Special orders don't upset us. All we ask is that you let us serve it your way. Oh, well, in that case, could I have the other Whopper with extra ketchup? Sure. We can serve your Rosie Whopper fresh with everything on top, or any way you think